Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home. Welcome to my messy kitchen. I hope y'all have had a fantastic weekend and an even better Columbus Day. Some of us had to work. Raise your hand if you did not get today as a holiday. I think everybody else in my house did, sort of. Tanner gets every Monday as a holiday, but so today really doesn't count for her. I can't count her for it, but regardless, we hope that you have had a wonderful long weekend. Tonight we are gearing up. It is homecoming week at my youngest daughter's school, and our house has already been rolled once today. Yeah, in broad daylight. And it looks like maybe only one of them was brave enough to actually come up in the yard and put a little bit in one of the trees that's actually close to the house, so it's kind of funny. But we hear that they're coming back tonight, and we are ready. So we're going to keep Messy Kitchen Monday short and sweet, so hopefully you don't hear any fireworks or loud noises coming from outside as we try to scare off a bunch of overzealous teenagers tonight. Anyway, this month, the month of October, we are sharing some of our fall favorite recipes. So sorry, Big D just walked in here with his retaliation kit, and he's ready and waiting for those kids to come, and he's actually excited about it. So it's a lot of fun. We laugh and joke. We're not going to hurt anybody. We just like to scare them. Anyway, this month, as I was saying, the month of October, we are celebrating some of our favorite fall recipes. Last week, if you were here, we did that wonderful caramel macchiato, and this week is going to be even better because we're making pie to go with your coffee. Now, if you've been following The Buttered Home for very long, you know that one of the things that we like to do is to show you recipes that might be just a little bit intimidating, or what you might consider to be time consuming, or just too much work, period. And show you that in a matter of minutes, you can whip up some really good old-fashioned recipes, and we can kind of teach you some shortcuts along the way. But what we really like to do is to show you the old-fashioned way to do it. So here in front of me, and I think you all can see it. If you can't, let me move it back. I have a shallow pie dish with a pie crust in it. And my favorite thing to do, lies, is to tint the edges of the pie. I absolutely hate doing that. And I have found, usually what I do, 9 times out of 10, I'm in a rush and I'll fill the pie up and then try to do it. And that's not the way to do it. You get the pie shell ready on the pan, everything, and then you tint it before you put your filling in the pie. That's my tip for you tonight. Tint it before you have it ready. And that way you don't mess anything up, because it's harder to fix a filled pie than it is to fix one that's not been filled. But if you need a great pie crust recipe, we have one of those on the blog at thebutteredhome.com. This recipe, when it drops later in the week, will actually have a link to that recipe so that you can make a really easy pie crust. If you don't want to fool with it, buy it in the refrigerated section. Now, I have, this recipe totally fills up a deep dish pie dish. And that's the one that I have ready for you on the Show Me when we get done. And it will fill up the whole thing. However, if you have a standard pie dish, which is much shallower, this actually recipe will fill up 2 of those. Or you can do what I did, and you can use 1 shallow crust, and then you can use your big biscuit cutter to cut out rounds and put them in a muffin tin and make small pies. So that's what I'm doing with this recipe tonight, because I have 1 deep dish and 1 shallow dish. So I almost panicked a little bit, and then I said, no, never fear, I can make it work. And so that's what I've come up with. So this shows you that a little bit of innovation and thought in the kitchen, you can do it too, and you won't waste anything. So this is really simple. I use fresh sweet potatoes. Now, I know that not everybody wants to fool with sweet potatoes, so it's totally fine for you to get the canned sweet potato pie filling. It's fine, but I do think that the pie is better with fresh sweet potatoes. And y'all, you can actually buy the bag of sweet potatoes that you cook in the microwave these days. No lie, you can cook them in like 8 minutes. Take them out, peel them, and there you have your mashed potatoes. But what I have here is and you'll get all the measurements when the recipe drops. So I have my mashed, cooked sweet potatoes already prepped in my bowl. And I've got a bowl with a spout on it. If you don't have one, you can totally transfer this to a pitcher, and it makes it a little bit easier to pour because it is going to be liquidy. So to this, we are going to add all the yummy stuff. We are going to add some whipped eggs, some melted butter, and it was melted, it's kind of congealed, but it's still soft. So as long as you've got it soft, good enough. Then the thing that makes any pie great pie, and that is sweetened condensed milk. And you're gonna put in a whole can of that. And during the holidays, you know, you might just go ahead and put on your grocery list, if you're gonna make a lot of sweet treats, to go ahead and buy about 4 cans of sweetened condensed milk, because you'll use them during the holidays. And then we have just some regular white granulated sugar. And then we're going to grind some cinnamon. It smells wonderful. Smells really, really, really good. And then we're going to grind some nutmeg. And oh, I just love the way it smells. It's good on savory and sweet dishes. I'm just gonna put just a tad more cinnamon in there. And then let me make sure I have everything in here. Vanilla. Can't forget the vanilla. The vanilla also gives it that fall kick too. So we're gonna put that in there. And then I'm gonna give it a quick little stir, just so that my sugar won't go everywhere. And now your sweet potatoes, even though they're cooked, they're still kind of chunky. And if you like chunky pie, by all means, mix this up by hand and pour it in. But I like mine creamy and smooth. So all you have to do to get that smooth, creamy consistency to the pie is just hit it with a blender, just for a little bit. It just kind of breaks everything up. A mixer. Now if you have an immersion blender, you can use that too. That'll kind of get it a little bit more smooth. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to fill these small ones up about halfway. Maybe a little more in some. But this is gonna puff up whenever you cook it, but then whenever it cools, it's gonna settle back down. So if you do overfill it, it's not a great big deal. But this is a lot of mix, and if you're using shallow pie pans, you can totally make 2, because that is absolutely full. So this will go into a 350-degree oven for 40 to 50 minutes. Your last 10 to 15 minutes of baking time, you can remove this tint and you're good to go, because your edges won't get too brown. So we'll pop these in the oven just as soon as we get done here. preheating my oven. And I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like. And this is my deep dish pie. And yes, there's some missing. There's some missing because I've already sliced it. And the cook, I don't know if you know this or not, but the cook always gets the first piece because you want to make sure it tastes fine, or like in olden days, it's not poisonous, so you can test it out. But the cook always gets the first piece because, as many of you know, what the real reason is, when you cut a pie and you take that first piece out, usually it looks terrible. So you don't want to serve that to your guests. So that's why they call that first piece of the pie the cook's piece. But y'all, it's beautiful, and it's this bright orange sweet potato color. And then it's, well, I'll show you on this. It's got this smooth, creamy texture. It's just fabulous. And you just slide that fork right in there. It comes out all pretty and clean. And then we like to hit it with just a little bit of whipped cream. And what I like to do is to take that cinnamon and just hit the top just a little bit with it, just to make it all nice and pretty. And that is all there is to sweet potato pie. And it is so good. And to me, it's better than pumpkin pie. Now, one of the strange, funny things to me is when I make sweet potato pie, I prefer it with fresh sweet potatoes. When I make pumpkin pie, I prefer it with the pumpkin puree that you buy at the grocery store. To me, it just has a better flavor. You can doctor it up a little bit with a lot of these same things that we use here, and it's virtually the same pie. And it is, how is it? She can't talk. Your mouth is full. It's not, she said it's not any good. Well, I don't know about in your house, but in my house, when people say that it's not any good, that means that they want it all for themselves and they don't want to share with anybody else. So the fact that it's not good means that it's really, really good. So I hope this shows you how easy sweet potato pie really is. And it's fabulous. It's great with that caramel macchiato coffee that we made last week. And the next 2 Mondays, we're just gonna build, and it's gonna get better and better. I have a really hearty recipe for you coming next week that will just warm you to the bones. I know a lot of my viewers have had some really cold weather lately, so you'll be glad to see this recipe coming next week. And the next one after that is our famous buttered home. Well, I'll tell you later. But it is a proprietary buttered home recipe that we are going to share with all of you. And it's fantastic. Everybody who has it loves it. And just like any of our other recipes, we're okay with the fact that you take these recipes and you make them and you take full credit for it as your own creation. Because I believe everybody needs to be famous for one recipe, at least one. So if you use one of our buttered home recipes, you have our full permission to take full credit for the recipe. So be here for sure the next 2 Monday nights where we show you some really savory, really good fall, warm you to the bone recipes. That's what we have coming up for you. This recipe will drop later in the week. If you are on our VIP mailing list, you will get it first before everybody else. So if you've not joined our mailing list, we urge you to get on that, and that is at thebutteredhome.com, and look for the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, go to the top of the screen here, and you can see a sign up button. And for all of my Instagram peeps, all you have to do is click on the link in bio, and there will be a place for you to sign up for our email newsletter there, so that you can be first to get this recipe and all of our others. So we hope that you make this, that you enjoy it, and tag us in a picture if you make it. We would love to hear from you. Hashtag the buttered home. And if not, be sure and join us the next Monday night as we warm you to the bone. Y'all have a great week. We hope you enjoy your Monday night with your family or your friends, and from the buttered home to your home. We love y'all.